weeks ago, I reviewed an Angela Anaconda episode, Crazed and Confused, which was an episode about fads. A lot of people in the comments talked about different fads that they remembered from over the years. I thought it'd be fun to do the same, make a video about it. I'm not going to be talking about every little thing, and I'm obviously going to miss a few things, but I wanted to talk about some of the bigger ones that I remembered. I'm not thinking of stuff like Pokemon cards or Yu-Gi-Oh cards because, especially with Pokemon, that's still huge today. Yu-Gi-Oh, I know, is still being played. I think to a lesser degree, but I know that fan base is still out there, so I wouldn't really call that a fad so much. And I'm not really thinking too much about popular toys like Furbies. I don't really remember that being a huge deal, at least not where I was, and if it was, I didn't pay attention to it. I did have a Furby growing up, and I never had the creepy experience that so many other people did. I liked Furbies. I thought they were cute. I guess it's another thing in my life that I found charming and fun, but everyone else found creepy. I didn't have the experience of the Furby talking to me at night. Maybe I was spared, or maybe I'm next. I don't know. The earliest fad that I can think of that I remember were Livestrong bracelets. That was in middle school. That was one where I think this was for Lance Armstrong. I think it was a charity foundation. I don't feel like looking this up, so feel free to correct me on this one. I'm going off memory so I can be lazy. But I remember people were really, really into Livestrong bracelets in middle school, and I remember that didn't last very long. That was only a couple months to a year. I remember that for a year at most. But man, there were real Livestrong bracelets, fake Livestrong bracelets. People got really uptight about what was real, what was a real Livestrong bracelet, what was a fake one. And people would pretty much just be commenting on each other's Livestrong bracelets. It was, I guess, like being in a very exclusive, superficial club based on these bracelets. I remember that was a huge deal once upon a time. And I definitely remember the Hannah Montana craze. Very much guilty of that one. I don't really think... I know people look back on Disney Channel nostalgically. For me, that was definitely more of a fad thing. But hey, you know what? Different strokes for different folks. Other fads. The other big one that I remember from school, this was in high school, I remember silly bands, which were little rubber band bracelets shaped like animals. I remember hosting French students, and they knew about silly bands, so they had to go have them. And they were participating with all the American students about all of the different silly bands they collected. I remember that being such a big deal, how many you could fit on your arm, what different shapes you had. I remember it was really fun watching the French students really get involved with this and have a ton of fun, just as the Americans were. So I remember that one fondly. I definitely had a couple of those. I don't know. They're probably still lurking around my house somewhere. I would say, for guys specifically, I remember Heelys being a big deal. That was another middle school one. I remember thinking that those were really, really cool, but never having a desire to get them myself. I admired them for sure. I guess part of it's I never fully understood how they worked. But it was really, really cool to see people sliding down the hallways in their Heelys. Like I said, I remember that being more of a thing with guys than with the girls. Yeah. Ignore my squeaky table, I'm leaning on it. The last thing that I really remember was a couple years ago. I remember fidget spinners being the biggest deal. People selling them, bootlegged copies, people rating think pieces on fidget spinners, about their pros, about their cons. Oh, fidget spinners are a distraction. Oh no, fidget spinners are very good for helping disabled students. Oh, fidget spinners are good for calming anxiety. Fidget spinners are the death of society. I remember that one. People really took that one seriously. I guess I admire it for its simplicity. Yeah, my table's really squeaky right now. I don't know why. Can you hear that? I gotta play it back. But anyways, yeah, fidget spinners. I remember that was such a big deal. That was what, 2017? And then it just disappeared into the ether. I don't think I have. I definitely was given fidget spinners, and I appreciate them for how simple they are. They are simple, they are effective, and you can definitely collect them in a lot of different ways. People took that really seriously. I mean, there were think pieces on fidget spinners. I think those are the big few I remember, I would say. Yeah, those are the big few I remember. Livestrong bracelets I remember being a big deal. I definitely remember Hannah Montana being a big deal. I remember Heelys for guys. I remember fidget spinners. I remember silly bands. There's definitely more that I'm missing, but those are the big ones. When I think of fads over the years, those are the ones I really think of. The stuff that lasted maybe a year at most and then disappeared, never to be heard of again or to be mocked and shamed. What do you remember?